Can we believe that witness who says those things? I say this because what is before you is whether you have credible evidence to disturb the presumption of regularity of the county assembly's Hansard and resolution as communicated to you. Let's then look at this Amos Birir, the Trump. He came here as an old man, stated his age, and initially looked very credible, even to me, initially. When confronted by learned colleague, Mr. Mutuma, in cross-examination, I do not know what your assessment of him was. Let me just say, in my assessment, he struck me as an old man, yes, but not very honest. Simple facts as to whether he has an internet-enabled phone, whereas his affidavit gave us an impression that he had no internet-enabled phone, he was on WhatsApp. In fact, that number, which he said was in the phone he was carrying in this house, was itself on WhatsApp. I do not know how much more credibility you can give such a witness. He needs redemption in the area of credibility. If you sought my opinion, the verdict belongs to you as whether you would believe him. A witness called Hilary Kibet Bosuben confirmed that he had a laptop supplied to him by the county assembly. He confirmed to him that he used this integrated system. Remember, voting is just one of the components of this system, but this system discharges multiple other functions. He used this same system to make his requisitions for payment of allowances for committee sittings, to register his attendance at committee sittings. It's these same people who use this system to register their attendance in committee sittings who are saying they have never been trained on this system. Fortunately for us, none of them claim to be missing out on their sitting allowances because of this system. It's enabling them in their bread and butter matters. It is only when voting is concerned that they draw the line. I then pose the question, are these the people, distinguished senators, whom you will say that you believe them that they didn't vote? Because to disturb the verdict of this assembly, you must reach a conclusion that, in fact, these people did not vote for the motion. At that juncture, credibility becomes the most important question. As you consider this motion, distinguished senators, remember Geoffrey Bett. Geoffrey Bett appeared before you as a person living with a disability, a mobility-related disability. He poured his heart out to you. He told you, I have come before you as part of my healing process. He told you, this governor confronted me in a joint sitting of the CECs and COs. He told you in that joint sitting of CECs and COs, when I was proposing to him that rather than procuring a financial management system at 68 million shillings, we can internally develop it at about 1 million shillings and prudently use taxpayers' money. He told me, I thought you only had a physical disability of your limbs. Kumbe, you also have a mental disability. Those were the words of Geoffrey Bett here. Geoffrey Bett has told you, I have come to this Senate as part of my healing process. I want you to consider Geoffrey Bett as you vote. Will your vote to rescue this governor aid Geoffrey Bett in healing? Or will your vote to save this governor add insult to injury to Geoffrey Bett? That issue is on trial before the Senate. Given a chance to take the witness stand, defend himself, and possibly address Geoffrey Bett wherever he is, and say, Geoffrey Bett, Before this same forum you sit, I am sorry for what I did to you. The governor has chosen not to take that stand. Allegations of financial impropriety, particulars of which were laid before you by various witnesses and documents, and which have been summarized by the learned counsel who came before me, are clear that Kericho County is hemorrhaging in loss of public funds. The governor had two opportunities. One, to get his concerned officers, CECs, COs, procurement officers, to swear affidavits and shed light on these matters. I invite you to reach a conclusion that the failure of the governor to call those witnesses to come before you and give account constitutes his shielding of those witnesses. A governor who shields witnesses who spend taxpayers' money, as we showed you on the Kipkelion housing saga, who shields his officers who spend money, as we showed you, in respect of the Londiani unfortunate accident victims, cannot claim it is not my act. He must take the ultimate responsibility, at least, for shielding those officers. Secondly, given a chance to come and take the witness stand and explain himself, because the evidence we have shows irrefutable evidence of hemorrhaging of public funds, he has declined to take the witness stand. I invite you to conclude that the act of the governor to refuse to take the witness stand, when the time there showed that the governor still had slightly over 30 minutes of his defense, is an act of arrogance on his part, not warranting any mercy from you. If you take all these factors into consideration, my invitation would be, you can only do one thing, the right thing: impeachment of this governor. The County Assembly of Kericho has done its part. The Hansard of this house, as a historical record, will document that. Fortunately for me, the check is still open for you to sign. The history book is still open for you to record your position in that history. The Hansard is still recording you. It will record your vote. Distinguished senators, how will history document you individually and collectively regarding the side of history you belong to? The side that dignifies Geoffrey Bett, or the side that undignifies him? The side that protects taxpayers' money, or the side that does not? I am done with my part. The ball is in your court. I rest my case.
Counsel for the governor, the floor is yours. And your 60 minutes start running from now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable senators, my colleague, for the record, my name is Wajiko Uongo. I will commence the closing argument, then my two colleagues will come thereafter. Honorable senators, our point of departure is the sequence of events as prescribed under Section 33 of the County Governments Act. And definitely, as we sit here, it's not in dispute that the County Assembly has the jurisdiction, the first jurisdiction, or the first instance in moving a motion for the impeachment of the governor. However, Mr. Speaker, in doing so, they must do so within the confines of the law and the edicts of the Constitution. They must adhere, in the very least, to Article 10, the principles and values of governance, and must do so within the provisions of Article 181. Therefore, before this House can admit this, honorable senators, our point of departure is the sequence of events as prescribed under Section 33 of the County Governments Act. And definitely, as we sit here, it's not in dispute that the County Assembly has the jurisdiction, the first jurisdiction, or the first instance in moving a motion for the impeachment of the governor. However, Mr. Speaker, in doing so, they must do so within the confines of the law and the edicts of the Constitution. They must adhere, in the very least, to Article 10, the principles and values of governance, and must do so within the provisions of Article 181. Therefore, before this House can admit this motion, it must then be satisfied, as we raised in our preliminary objection, that the threshold of the 2/3 majority of the Assembly was met. But in determining this question, serious issues have been raised on what transpired in the Assembly on that day, Mr. Speaker. Several clips, videos have been played in this House on what transpired. And what can be seen is that from those videos and the picture which has been painted is that for the first time, the Kericho County Assembly introduced electronic voting system. The MCAs had never been trained about this system. It has not been controverted by our colleagues from the side of the Assembly. It's also in addition that it is on the floor of that motion that the Speaker of the Assembly informed the MCAs that now the electronic voting system had been deployed. From the ICT officer of the Assembly, Mr. Alfred Kimtai, Mr. Speaker, when that question was put to him, he admitted that the system was deployed 2 days before. The MCAs had not been given an opportunity to interact with the system, create their own passwords, so that the vote which they are going to cast is going to be linked to a particular MCA. This goes to the verifiability of that particular vote. It is not about the numbers at this point. It's about the process within which that election was undertaken. Because an election is not just an event, it's a process, Mr. Speaker.